I'm 44 years old, and rarely does something come along these days that makes me giggle like a schoolboy. But today, I get to review something that 100% absolutely does over and over and over again. And that, my friends, is the 2025 Hyundai Ioniq 5N Performance. Check this thing out. Welcome to Ed's Garage. I'm very, very excited to bring you this amazing vehicle. This currently is probably one of the most exciting vehicles on the market today. And we just got our first one here at Bannister Hyundai. And my God, everybody that looks at this vehicle loves it. And everyone gets a smile on their face when they jump in and press the accelerator pedal. But this isn't just a bunch of makeup on an existing Ioniq 5. This is a completely new vehicle from Hyundai, and while it shares, the body for the most part with the original Ioniq 5, everything else has changed. It's got more horsepower, bigger motors, more torque, bigger brake discs, etc., etc., etc. This is a full-on race car for the streets. Let me just tell you a couple of things about this vehicle. Some of the statistics. 641 horsepower when in N-Grin boost mode. Yes, it's called N-Grin boost mode. There's a boost button on the steering wheel. It has 15.8-inch front floating rotors, 4 piston calipers. Around that, 21-inch wheels, beautiful aluminum alloy wheels actually, Pirelli P0 tires. Even the rear rotors are vented and they're 14.2-inch. This has bigger rear brakes than most compact car front brakes, which is hilarious. For an EV, it has a huge open mouth grille. Check this out, because of course it needs to cool down those two big motors and that big 84 kilowatt hour battery. 0 to 60 miles an hour or 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in about 3.2 seconds. That's amazing. Guys, going an additional second, when you're under 5 seconds, going that additional second takes a lot of power. Let me give you an example. 641 horsepower. That's about twice the amount of horsepower in my car. My car is the Ioniq 6 with 320 horsepower. Yet I can only get to 60 miles an hour in 4.4 seconds. So that 1.2 seconds basically required doubling the horsepower for the Ioniq 5. That's amazing. Now, of course, being electric, that power is instantaneous. With well over 500 foot-pounds of torque, the second you push the accelerator, you're moving. You're not waiting for a bunch of pistons to fire and build up compression or whatever. No, it's just all there all the time. It's phenomenal. Now, as far as this compared to the regular Ioniq 5, well, it's wider by about 3 inches. It's a bit lower by about an inch, if I remember correctly. The front and rear are quite different. Obviously, we have air dampers in the front and the rear, so it's got a bit of a front splitter. Not really, because it's quite wide. Check out that cool orange line though, that's pretty awesome. But in the back we do have an air diffuser, which is pretty cool. Look at this, look at how long that sticks out. That's crazy. So a bit of a diffuser in the back there. As far as the spoiler here, it's a little bit different. So we got that sort of V-shaped third brake light there. It still has the air pass through. So this actually passes through over the window. Check it out. Now has a window wiper back here, which is nice. Tinted rear windows, also quite nice. They're very dark tint, actually. But then, of course, the wheels are totally different. The side body cladding, quite different as well. You have the N badges everywhere. There's one there, one on the wheel. There's one on the back. They're in the seats. Yeah, this thing's a monster. This is obviously different as well. Gives a little bit extra cooling, so this is all grille up front. It does still share the same LED running lights as well as LED headlights and high beams and turn signals, I believe. Yep, LED turn signals as well. We have the front sensors, front parking sensors, as well as rear parking sensors. And to be quite honest, it's actually a very practical vehicle. Yes, it's a sports car. Yes, it's ready for the track and it has, a ton of horsepower and whatnot, but it's also a very practical vehicle. Let me show you some of the features that this thing has. So for one, obviously we do have remote start. And one of the nicest things about Hyundai top trim levels is Smart Park. So if I hold this button down on the key after remote starting it, you can see I can control the forward and reverse vehicle movement. So there it goes. Hold down the other button and we go back a little bit. So that is Smart Park. Now, not only can I move it forwards and backwards, I can also park the vehicle. So it has the ability to park itself. So while this vehicle looks juvenile and it's like a 10-year-old on steroids, it'll still put away its dishes and tidy up its bedroom. It even has one of my favorite Hyundai features, the Smart Power Tailgate. Check that out. So all you got to do is stand behind it for a few seconds, tailgate opens up. And as far as cargo space, just because it's the performance version of the vehicle, it loses nothing in the way of cargo space. There's still a ton of room in here underneath the floor. We've got the little storage areas on the side, of course, subwoofer in the center there. This one does come with the privacy cover, which is a nice touch. These seats can actually recline back, which I'll show you in a bit, and they can also move forward, which I'll also show you in a bit. Got an LED light in here lighting up the cargo area, 12-volt power outlet there, quick access to the automatic emergency release for the charge port door. And actually, check this out. Oh, I got to unlock it first. They've actually improved the charge port area. So they've recessed the charging port a little bit, and they've put this handy little flap on here to get this out a lot easier for level 3 charging. Still no NAX port here. I guess that's coming next year, but whatever, we'll be able to use that eventually with an adapter. Also, the button here, one of the common issues with the older ones was it was a little harder to open up. It's a lot easier to open up now. So that's all taken care of. And as I mentioned, backup sensors. So sensor there, sensor there, sensor there. Lots of sensors on the vehicle, front and rear. Like, for instance, the forward-facing camera right here, which of course is going to detect pedestrians and cars and lines on the road, so it'll stay in its lane. And right here we have the sensor for the window wiper. So you're not losing any real luxury features other than the power driver's seat. It's not a power driver's seat, but that's okay. Power driver's seat would be really, really heavy, and you want to keep the weight down on a vehicle like this. You do also have the forward-facing radar on here for the adaptive cruise control, but I can't actually see it. So I guess they've hidden it behind here, or behind here, probably behind right there. So that's kind of nice. It's not taking away anything from the front of the vehicle. We also have the full 360 camera system. So if you have a look at the power folding mirrors here, you got the lights on there, pixels of course, camera in the mirror. It does have blind spot monitoring as well. You've got the auto fold out handles, which is awesome. So when you lock and unlock the doors, those will actually fold in and fold out automatically. So that's pretty cool. But we're gonna get to the front seat in a bit. Let's talk about the rear seats first. Now, one of the nice things about the Ioniq 5 is just its immense cabin volume. It's huge. There's so much space in here. So nice black headliner, first of all, because this, of course, is the sportier version. We have a center cup holder armrest, nice and cushioned. We have Alcantara seats. Check that out. Really nice material, bolstered by leatherette. Both of the front seat backs are, of course, solid. Neither of them has a pouch because, of course, these are racing seats designed for a 5-point harness, which will pass through here. But look at the legroom in this thing. It's absolutely insane. As I mentioned, you can actually move these seats forward and backwards. So there we go. I've just moved that forwards, and then I can recline the seat as well, which is pretty nice. I could recline a little bit further, but the privacy cover is currently in the way. We have door handles that extend from front to back. That's no different. That hasn't changed from the old model. We have the retractable sunshades there as well. We have the vent in the B pillar here, which is pretty nice. And I've also got grab handles, because in this car, you're going to need grab handles. The grab handles are everywhere. That's a good idea. We have USB-C ports on the back of the center console here for the rear passengers. That's a nice touch. Finally, we got USB-C all throughout the Ioniq 5. Now, this is the 5N, but it still has those luxuries, which is awesome. All right, let's jump into the front seat of the Ioniq 5N. The most exciting place to be of any Hyundai ever. This is the most exciting Hyundai. I don't care what anyone says. So again, with the nice long door handle, of course you have all your window controls, mirror controls, your power folding mirror button right there. You can press and fold the mirrors in whenever you want. Child safety lock mechanism button right there. That'll control both the windows and the doors. But check this out, manual seats. But look at these seats. First of all, you have a lit up N badge right here. So when the vehicle is running, let me just start it up so you can see what I'm talking about here. It's a little bit awkward from this position, but I'm gonna start it up. And I don't know if you can see that. That is actually lit up. That's pretty cool. Beautiful blue stitching, of course. That blue is the performance blue that comes on the Hyundai N models. This one obviously is white, but the regular performance blue N would have the same color on the outside as this stitching here. Now you'll also see that on the steering wheel, this very, very button-loaded steering wheel, which I'll go over in a bit. Check out these pedals. Even the dead pedal has the cool sort of checkered flag look, so that's kind of nice. Ioniq 5 N specific mats, and even the entry is specific to the N model, so you got that checkered look there as well. But note, with the checkered pattern, those are also, of course, pixels, because the Ioniq 5 is all about the pixels, right? All right, I don't know about you, but I think it's time to take this thing out for a drive. I have not actually driven it yet, so I'm pretty excited about this drive. I still need to throw a plate on it, but let me show you a couple things that we're going to try out on the drive that are absolutely bonkers. For one, we know that it has the ability to make noise. Check that out. So if I look at the instrument cluster here, you can see it's giving me even a shift suggestion, or shift helper, or whatever you want to call it. If I press the N button on the steering wheel, it gives us a completely different look on the instrument cluster. So this is now all the power. Just awesome. Up in the top right hand corner here, you can see we've got full power, stiffest steering, and then stiffest suspension. So you can actually quickly put it into sort of regular N mode by pressing that button. If I press it a second time, it puts it into a custom mode. So you can see I've got the suspension a little bit softer now in custom mode. There are 2 custom modes, and you can basically link up 2 modes to this button and 2 modes to this button. I think you can do 2 modes to this button here. Just hold it down and see if it goes into the customization. No, you have to go to that manually. So if I go into buttons here and I go to right N button, yeah, set the function for the N button on the steering wheel right side. So if I put this on, let's see here. I'm going to go N active sound. So there's the different sounds. All right, so this won't go through multiple modes. This one, however, will. Well, sort of. When I press it, it'll put it into N mode. If I press it again, it puts it into custom mode. So it kind of switches back and forth between those two. However, if I go into left N button on the steering wheel, I can either select N mode selection, or I can also put it on one of these other things. So I can basically customize these 2 buttons the same way. They both have the same capability for customization. Now, in the N mode selection, if I go to the little gear icon here, I can either have custom 1 or I can have custom 2, or I can have custom 1 and custom 2, but not regular N mode. So it kind of depends on what you want to do. It's pretty cool that it gives you all of that capability. All right, driving the Ioniq 5N. Pretty excited for this moment, guys. I got to be honest, this thing is absolutely bonkers. Now, granted, I have driven it for the last few minutes, and I'll say this thing absolutely rips your face off when you accelerate. Amazing. So we're on a bit of a country road right now. We're doing about 50-ish kilometers an hour. I got a corner up here, so I'm just going to hang back a little bit, give it a second. Maybe not. We'll go around the corner quickly. Why not? Okay. Oh, man, that is nuts. My cameraman today, he's having a hard time not being a giggly oaf like me. I mean, it's hard in this car because every time you accelerate, it's like you're on a roller coaster. Absolutely phenomenal. Now, we're going to turn left up here pretty soon because there's a bit of a hill climb. Oh, God, and there's a Prius in front of us. Great timing. Oh, he's not turning left there. Perfect. He's turning left here. Anyway, so this is a hill climb that I've done before. If you've seen my Elantra N video and my Veloster N video, I've done the same route with those cars, but this is going to be something else because this car literally has, well, more than twice the horsepower. So here we go. Let's run up this hill and see how it goes. Yeah, this is not. You're almost like, I'm almost afraid to push it because I know how much power it actually has. Oh, we should put on the G-force meter. Let me just do that real quick here. I'm going to slow it down a little bit here. Okay, there we go. So have a look at the G-force meter here, Nick, if you can face the camera in that direction. So just under acceleration. Oh, these brakes. Oh my God, they bite. Look at, wow. Did you see how quickly it turned in? Unbelievable. Wow. Holy cow. Oh man, the brakes are so good. It's funny though, because you really actually have to push hard on them in order to get them to bite, which is actually kind of nice. So I'm not hitting the brakes too much. I'm really needing to get my foot down onto the brake pedal. I wonder if anybody else has noticed that driving these. That's impressive. So I don't usually do a driving test because I find that, you know, if you're interested in a vehicle like this, you just need to go and test drive it yourself, because my impression of how it drives is going to be different from everyone. I mean, I can't even finish a sentence. So obviously it's really good, but you need to drive this. If you're watching this video and you're interested in one of these vehicles, hell, even if you're not, if you're just watching this video because, you know, you think it's fun, go to your local Hyundai dealer right now. Don't walk, run to your local dealership and take one of these out for a drive, because oh my God, it will blow your mind. Can you believe this thing weighs, what is it, like 5,500 pounds? I think it's more than that actually. Like the way that it's hugging these corners and just rocketing out, amazing. All right, I'm gonna slow down here a little bit. I'm gonna drive a little bit calmer, because now this part of the video, I just want to point out that while this is a track-ready vehicle with phenomenal handling, phenomenal braking, absolutely stunning acceleration, it's also a very practical family vehicle. I mean, this thing fits 5 people comfortably. There's quite a bit of space up, down, left, right, back, forth. But one of the cool things about these EVs is that, you know, they've got very powerful regen. I touched on this earlier, but I'm going to show you just what sort of regen this has, because you don't necessarily have to hit the brakes even when going downhill. So I'm going to come to a stop going down this hill. This is a pretty steep hill. So I'm going to wait until we get around this corner here. And I'm going to go from, I don't know, let's say 60 kilometers an hour. There we go. There's 60. 67. Okay, here we go. So I'm letting off the brake now, or off the accelerator now. Going downhill, okay? It's a fairly steep hill. And we're at a stop. That's it. The regen is very strong. Obviously, it's going to stop faster on a flat surface, but that's crazy. That's stopping faster, slowing down faster than I would normally slow down. So you're actually modulating your deceleration with your accelerator. If you've never driven an EV before, that's one of the biggest fundamental differences, is that you don't necessarily need to put your foot on the brake as much, because if you're in level 3 or higher regeneration on a Hyundai product anyway, you can really just modulate your deceleration just by lifting off the accelerator a bit, not all the way, but just enough to slow down at the speed that you want to slow down. All right, we're going to do a real quick 0 to 60 miles an hour here, or 0 to 100 kilometers an hour. So I've got N-Grin boost enabled. I've got launch control activated. Here we go, because there's a car coming. There's 100. So whatever that worked out to be, I'll check the camera footage afterwards. Wow, okay, so the N-Grin boost did give me about 10 seconds of extra power. That was awesome. I'm not sure exactly if the launch control worked there. I didn't really have enough time to look at it, but with an EV, you really don't need launch control. You just kind of put the pedal down and away you go. Anyway, that's as much as I'm going to do today on the drive, because again, this is not my car, and it is technically a sold unit, sort of, more or less. We have a deposit on it. And just a quick shout out actually to the buyer. Thank you so much for allowing us to do this. So Reg, you the man. All right, so I've enabled the E-shift mode now. So now I can actually shift gears manually. So we're going to see what that's like. Now, when you enable E-shift, it does turn on the active sound design so that you have an audible tone of, you know, an audible indicator of when to shift gears. So you can see right in the instrument cluster here, we are in first fake gear. So I'm going to use the paddles on the back of the steering wheel to shift up. So as I accelerate, There we go, there's second gear. All right, so we are now shifting fake gears. Now, if you miss a gear, it will actually bog down. So I'm gonna give you a quick demo of that here. Oh. All right, we gotta jump on the freeway. And if you gear down, if it lets me, it actually rev matches, which is hilarious. There we go. You can even feel the kick. Every time it pops a gear, it gives you a little bit of a kick in the butt to let you know that you've successfully shifted gears. Amazing. So we're in fourth gear now. We'll gear down to third. Rev match, a little bit of a burble. A little burble when you shift up into fourth. Here we go, car in front of me, it's gone. Awesome. Oh, I should probably slow down it. Unreal. So, obviously this is stupid. I mean, let's be honest. Sound and shifting an EV makes no sense. But you know what? It's fun as hell, and I think that's what they're really going for here. It has no real practical purpose. They do say that, you know, for ice drivers, ice track drivers, that you know, go around a track or whatever, having that sort of audible feedback of what the car is doing at any given time could be helpful. I think that's baloney. I think that's an excuse to add a hilarious function to a EV, adding something in that so many EV haters, you know, cry about the fact that EVs don't make noise. Well, this one makes noise, guys, and I think that's what they were going for. And man, they did a good job. Okay, well, that was fun. Let's go over the features in the vehicle. Now, this is going to take a little while because, as you know, the Ioniq 5 Ultimate has a ton of features. This, of course, is based on that vehicle and that trim level, with the exception of the sunroof and the power driver's seat. So, based on the Ultimate, this is going to have most of the same features. But I'm going to start on the left. We'll move our way to the right. We'll kind of try to cover everything. I'm going to miss a few things that I'm still learning. Still learning this vehicle because there's a lot to learn. But yeah, let's start on the left here. Sorry about the sun glare, guys. It is a beautiful sunny day and I can't find any shade. Right here, we have the dimmer switch. We have the auto hold function, which holds the vehicle before, basically when you take your foot off the brake, it just won't move. iPedal does the same thing, of course, but you know, it's slightly different because iPedal will bring you to a complete stop as well. You got your power e-brake. Stability and traction control, so that button's fun to turn off in the snow. This one right here will open up your tailgate. This will open up your charging door. This vehicle does, of course, have tilt and telescopic steering wheel, so that's what that's for. We have the headlight and turn signal stock right here. It does have auto headlights and auto high beams, so pretty cool. And of course, when you tap it, it will flash by itself 3 times, and of course show you your blind view monitor on either side, which is awesome. On the steering wheel, we have all of our controls for the instrument cluster and the cruise control. So these 3 right here are for cruise control. This one here turns it on. This allows you to adjust it up or down, and this one changes the distance between you and the car in front of you. These 2 buttons right here control basically what's on this screen. Now, it depends on what's on the screen at any given time as to whether or not it'll control the center or the side or what. But if I basically scroll through, you know what, let's put it into a different drive mode here. Let's start with eco mode. So here's what eco mode looks like. Now, if I press the top button here, you'll see it cycles between 3 sort of main screens, okay? So if I put it on the far left screen, and then I use the little scroll wheel underneath that button, so this guy right here, I can now cycle between the different things within each menu. Now this particular menu has a lot of screens. Check this out. So we start off with our current trip. So that's just the trip computer for this period that I've started the car. If I drop it down, I go to the since the last recharge, and then I can go down one further, so since the last reset. Well, let's say I want to reset this. I'm going to hold this little scroll wheel button down, and boom, it resets. If I go down, whoop, I went down a little too far here. So if I go down one more time, I've got our tire pressure monitor, then our all-wheel drive info screen, so how much power each wheel is getting. Go down one more, shows us our motor temperatures, front and rear. It's kind of neat. Drop down again, we have our lap timer, which I can press the OK button to start. That's kind of nice. And then I can hold it to stop it. So there we go. And then I can reset by holding it again as well. So that's our lap timer. And that's all controlled with the little scroll wheel there. That's pretty cool. This one here is our G-force meter. So how many G's we're pulling forwards, backwards, left, right, whatever. You'll see this little dot kind of move around or dance around the screen as there's gravitational forces being pulled in either direction. So that's kind of nice. Roll down again, bumps us back to our current trip. Now if I press that top button again and jump over to this screen, it's currently showing our compass because we're not navigating. Now this vehicle, of course, is equipped with built-in navigation. So now that I have a navigation destination in place, you can see we've got our turn-by-turn directions on this screen. So that's kind of cool. So whether it's on this screen or in the head-up display, which I'm not sure you can see right now, it's sort of showing there. Yeah, that's kind of hard to see, but it in person is really easy to see. All right, pressing that top button again takes us over to the screen here, which is just going to show us whether or not there's a car in front of us or beside us in our blind spot, whatnot. Just kind of showing you what's around the car. Now, in this particular instrument cluster view, we have our speedometer to the left. We have our charge indicator to the right here, just showing where power is going, if it's charging or using power. And it also shows our current range till empty, which of course is going to be a little inaccurate. This vehicle gets about 370 kilometers of range on average, potentially a little bit better in the summer, a little bit worse in the winter. On the bottom left, showing that our parking brake is on. We're currently in eco mode, car's on and ready to go. 27 degrees outside. Currently we're in park. And then on the right-hand side there, we have our battery percentage, what level of regeneration we're in, and of course, how many kilometers are on the vehicle. Now, what's cool about this is that the regen pedals on the back of the steering wheel here, you can actually put this into I-pedal mode, as you can see there now, which will bring the vehicle to a complete stop when you let go of the accelerator. And because it's got two very powerful motors, it stops pretty quick. The regen is very strong on this vehicle. All right, so that is these two buttons on the steering wheel. This one right here will turn on the lane centering. So this vehicle is equipped with both lane keep assist and lane centering, so it'll stick right in the center of the lane. Now the drive mode button here allows you to cycle between normal, eco, and sport. So eco, of course, is going to give you your best possible range. Normal is normal. Sport is going to give you a little bit less range. It's also going to give you a bit more power. It's going to tighten up the steering wheel. But that's about it. There is some minor customization with the active sound design, that sort of thing, but these are definitely the more customizable buttons for the drive capability. Now the NGB button here, this N-Grin boost, gives you about 10 seconds of, or 10, is it 20 seconds? I think you do have to have it in N mode, probably in drive. There we go. So yeah, so there we go. N-Grin is ready. Now, of course, it's not going to do anything because I'm not moving, but essentially there will be a counter down for a period of time where it gives you an extra 40 horsepower. That's super cool. And then underneath that, of course, we have all of the buttons for the stereo. So these are just for the infotainment system, nothing else, okay? So mode switches where music is coming from. The first time you press it, you can actually select the different sources that you use. Otherwise, it won't cycle between those ones. Next or previous track, next or previous favorite, if you're listening to the radio, Sirius XM or whatever. This one here is customizable. I like to set that up to be the home button on my car because I don't actually have a physical home button. But in this car, we're going to set that to reject or end phone call because that makes the most sense because it's right next to the answer phone call button. This, of course, is your volume for your stereo or your phone calls, whatever. And then we have our voice recognition button right there, which of course will access Android Assistant or Siri when you're using your phone connected wirelessly, by the way, to the new CCNC system, which I'm going to get to in a little bit. Now, our gear selector is down here. Sorry, I'm slurring my words. We have reverse drive, and then, of course, pushing the end is for park. And then if we want to put it in neutral, we just kind of rotate this part way, and now we're in neutral. So if I push the end here, there we go, there's park. And by the way, it will automatically set the e-brake for you and release the e-brake as well. It has automatic wipers, so if I lift this up one, there we go, there's auto, and if I adjust this, you'll notice any change that I make will show in the screen corresponding to what I'm doing here. So I don't necessarily need to look at the stock, I can just look right here in the screen. It's also got the rear wiper now, woohoo! Rear wiper, yay! And what's nice about this is it also has a rear washer. So not just a rear wiper, but a washer as well. So push it away from you for the rear washer, pull it towards you for the front washer. I gotta be honest, I personally didn't really care about the fact that the old one didn't have the rear wiper, but it's been such a bone of contention for so many people. Hyundai has listened and added a rear wiper. Now, what they've also listened to their customers about was this center console. The old console was kind of cool in that you could grab the whole thing and move it forward and backwards and stuff like that. But to plug your phone in, you had to reach way down here to a USB port, which actually also had some problems. But all of that is gone now. So your USB ports, USB-C, right here. This one will charge. This one will either charge or it'll charge and connect directly to the screen. So that's why it's got this little button right here. You can kind of change it what you want to do. It's got the wireless charging pad there, a little storage area here, and then right in front of that you have your camera button. So if I press that, we can see all of our cameras here. So we've got our top-down camera, which is awesome. It's got the dynamic steering lines there, and I can also do this, look straight down over it, or I can fill the screen with camera, or I can put it on either side. So you can see the tire there. If I turn this, you can see the front tires both moving. So that's great for like parallel parking or whatnot. Sorry, I'm jiggling around a bit here. I'm trying to hold the camera and turn the steering wheel. I can do that in reverse as well. So now I've got both of the rear wheels there. So if I'm parallel parking, I really have no excuse. I shouldn't be curbing the wheels. And it's a very wide angle camera as well. You can see the bumper along the bottom here. Right now you can see my license plate hanging there. But even the 360 camera system, you know, everything's stitched together really beautifully, and it just works spectacularly well. So that's the same as the old system. They did also keep the sort of the 360 car thing here. And check this out. The actual fake car that's showing is in the performance blue. So that's kind of neat. And you'll notice even the steering wheel makes the fake wheels turn as well. So that's pretty awesome. When you move in this view, let me just put it back on that view here, you'll also notice that the wheels even turn. Look at that. So pretty cool. You can really hear these brakes bite hard, because they squeak when you come to a complete stop sometimes. All right, so also down here in the center console, just while we're talking about this, first of all, this is your parking sensors, front and rear. So we have the fold-away cup holders here, or turn-away, or what do we want to call them. This now opens up to a very large storage area, but there's an actual storage bin in the center console here now, instead of just that little tiny tray. And then if we want to use cup holders, just push those buttons back out again. Okay, I'm jumping all over the place here, sorry. Another USB charging port here and a 12-volt outlet there. So in the center console here, there are literally 3 places to plug phones in. That's pretty neat. Now, right above that, of course, you have your dual zone automatic climate control. Nothing's changed here. It's exactly the same as the old car with, sorry, one thing has changed. One tiny little exception. If I press this button here to bring up the warmer ventilation settings, first off, this is a much easier screen to use than the old one, because now I can just press these buttons here real quick and turn on the ventilated seats. I don't have to do a little weird slider thingy. But check this out. This is the main difference. Whoop, I'm hitting other buttons. The steering wheel warmer is 2 settings, so I can have it on high or medium, or well, high or low, I guess. That's cool. So instead of having, you know, just one setting for the whole wheel to get nice and warm, it's 2 settings, low and high. Now, the automatic climate control system, very, very easy to use. Pretty obvious how this works, but one of the nice things is that it does turn on the recirculate automatically if you drive through a tunnel. So if you're going through a tunnel, or if you use your windshield washer fluid, it will also turn on the recirculate. So when you press the climate button, it brings up everything up on the screen here. If I pull the windshield washer fluid here, you'll notice it says blocking outside air to prevent odor of washer fluid from entering the vehicle. So that's automatic, but it also does that when you're driving through a tunnel. I can show you that if I go into setup here and then into, where is it? Vehicle, climate, and here we go. Recirculate air, activate upon entering tunnels. Awesome. Now, as far as the new CCNC entertainment system, infotainment system, I'm not going to go over everything in that system today because this video is already going to get very, very long. So I'm going to ignore sort of the non-end stuff. I might touch on a couple of things, but I'm going to talk mostly about the end configurations, the end mode configurations in here. The rest, I will eventually have a CCNC in-depth analysis video. So I will do that separately. So I'll try to link that in the description below when it's done. If I forget, just please do a search for Ed's Garage, CCNC, infotainment, or something like that. It'll come up, I promise. The reason I'm not going to do it today is because, again, this video is already getting quite long. So, and the CCNC system, aside from the end mode, is going to be exactly the same pretty much in any car that has the CCNC infotainment system. I keep calling it CCNC. That's the current generation of the infotainment systems that Hyundais and Kias are getting. Before I get to that though, anyway, we have an auto-dimming rearview mirror with home link buttons. And then up in the headliner, of course, we have our map lights. We have all the interior lights. We've got all the interior lights with the door open. Both of the sun visors slide out and they both have mirrors and lights. We also have Blue Link in this vehicle. So you can press this one to call emergency assistance and this one to call for roadside assistance. Now, Blue Link is free in Canada for 3 years. It might just be free forever, though. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I don't think I've really started charging anyone yet. So, okay, let's talk about this big, beautiful 12-inch infotainment screen. So first off, this isn't one solid screen going all the way across. It is 2 individual 12-inch screens. So first off, the instrument cluster. As I mentioned earlier, there is a number of different things you can put on this screen and a number of different configurations. So this is one of those configurations, of course. This would be in N shift mode or E shift mode. So it would basically be expecting me to shift gears manually in this mode. If I press the other button here to put it into just regular sort of N mode, right now it's not making any changes because I've got this button to set up the E-shift. So if I press that again, it turns off E-shift, and now when I press the left button, it's cycling between custom 1 and N. So yeah, again, a lot of customizations in here. So now that we're looking at a different screen here, let me show you. So we got motor temperature, front and rear, battery temperature there. But if I use the little scroll wheel and button on the right, on the left on the top here, it's all going to be on that right-hand side. So first off, the top button actually doesn't do anything when we have the screen in this layout, but the little scroll wheel still allows me to scroll through those different things on the right hand side of the screen. So that's sort of the same regardless of what instrument cluster mode you have it on, but it's just moved it over to the right. I just pause here for a second to say, holy cow, these ventilated seats work well. Like, these are strong. These are some of the strongest ventilated seats I've ever sat in. This is really nice. So from the sort of main home screen here, in order to get to custom, essentially what we're going to do is we're just going to switch over to the end screen here and then swipe over to the left. And here's our custom settings. So I've got custom 1, custom 2, which again, I can set these buttons to go to one of 2 things, or 2 of 3 possible options. End mode, custom 1, custom 2, and then, well, what I showed you there before on the settings. But if we want to have one of those buttons set up to go to a custom 1 or custom 2 mode, let me just have a quick look here at the buttons again. That was, access my button settings real quick. So let's see, here we go, right N button. So right now I've got the right N button to just automatically go to NE shift. However, if I put it on N mode selection and then go to the configuration, now it'll switch between N and custom 2. So basically now both of these will switch to the regular N mode. There we go. Or if I press this one again, it'll go to custom 1. And then this one, if I press it, it goes to N mode. And if I press it again, it goes to custom 2. So that's essentially what that's doing. So if I go into, weirdly it says custom 1 now though, hang on. Right N button, N mode or custom. Okay, so There's N, and then ESC disabled in custom 2. Hold the button to again. Oh, okay. Interesting. So currently in custom 2, the N, or the electronic stability control, is completely disabled. So now I have to actually press this and then hold it to acknowledge that ESC is disabled, but it still says, interesting. Maybe I just have to not just press it and then hold it. Maybe I just have to hold it. There we go. Okay. So because traction and stability control are disabled in the custom mode 2 settings, if I go into here and go to custom 2, and then ESC completely turned off, that required me to hold this button down in order to get it into custom 2 mode. So yeah, there's a ton of configuration, but here's the different things that you can change. So the motor, the steering, the suspension, the electronic limited slip differential, the electronic stability control, the HUD, the head-up display, and the NAS. So that is that active sound thing, okay? So we can change which active sound it's in or turn it off completely. Now, that is the varying custom modes. Pretty cool. But if I go to the little gear icon up here, you can see we have a little bit more information about each setting, right? So basically I can choose the different things in here and then back out. So if I put this in motor eco mode and then back out, you'll notice here now it says eco. So essentially this gear just takes you to the same sort of customizations that you can see in here, but it gives you a description of every single one of those things. So motor normal, motor sport provides quick responsive motor and sense of acceleration, suitable for fast driving on public roads. And of course, Sport Plus, suitable for driving or dynamic and racetrack driving. So you can really kind of customize the motor and everything. Like it's amazing the different things you can do. Okay, so that is the custom modes. Now, the other thing in the end screen on the left here, you can see we've got sort of different types of racing options. So we've got N Drift Optimizer, which of course is going to give a lot more power to the rear motor in order to be able to drift the back end out really easily or break the traction in the rear end. N Race is also going to, well here, check this out. So provides maximum cooling of motor and battery for better track driving performance. May cause noises, vibrations, and climate system performance degradation. Frequent use of N-Race may reduce battery durability. N-Race is available when the following conditions are met. So you can see there are different modes that need to be enabled for N-Race to actually function. But of course, that you're only really going to use on a racetrack. N-Pedal. Only on dedicated racetracks, N-Pedal may not comply with the laws of country and region of use. Drivers are responsible for complying with the laws of country. N-Pedal is available when all the following conditions are met. Motor mode Sport Plus in N mode or N custom mode, and electronic stability control in Sport or off. So we're going to turn that off. You can see we've also got battery customization as well. So drag mode and track mode, so that it gets the battery to the temperature you want it at. Let's hit the little info button here. Optimizes battery temperature in advance for the driving purposes. This may cause noises, vibrations. So basically what they're talking about is, the pump may come on to cycle fluid through the battery, that sort of thing. Short-term driving using maximum power output, and consistent driving, continuous driving on a track. So a lot of customization there for the battery. And torque distribution is basically where you're sending power. So if you want to have more power to the front versus the rear, or vice versa, you can do so. You can literally grab this little slider and move it left or right. So torque front, torque rear, as you can see. Pretty crazy, the level of customization. There's just so much. Man, you need a degree to know how all this stuff works. I don't know how this stuff works yet. Acceleration pedal. Look at that. I can actually move the accelerator, and you can see it represented there. Brake pedal. Look at that. There's brake force. Wow, you really got to press hard to get it all the way to 100%. That's crazy. So the circuit option here, this is pretty cool. So if you actually go to one of these circuits, you can kind of set the car set up and ready to go for the circuit, but it'll also keep your lap time, show you where you are on the circuit. Pretty neat. There's not a lot of circuits in here. I wish there was actually more, but yeah. We have a lap timer here, which we can record either automatically or manually using the buttons on the steering wheel. You can actually start the lap timer as well. That's another thing you can do with these N mode buttons. You can actually set one to start and stop lap timers. And if we swipe over to the right, of course, there's our custom information, our G4 screen, which we can blow up, get full screen. We can even zoom in, zoom out, depending on the level of G-force we expect. Here's our launch control option. And then under performance options, yeah, this is, again, just more sort of in-depth information about the performance options. So here's N pedal, for instance. 3 levels of regenerative braking are selectable when you release the accelerator pedal. A series of rapid decelerations provides enhanced load transfer and tuck-in response. Be mindful of safety. The vehicle may react sensitively when operating the accelerator pedal during track driving. Considering adjusting the vehicle's responsiveness to the operator of the accelerator pedal during limit driving is recommended. Okay, so this is actually really cool. The reason this is cool to me is because when I took my Ioniq 6 to the track, which I really need to get the video up still, I found that when I came off the accelerator, I kind of, a couple times, I really wished that the regenerative braking would kick in a lot sooner. So I think that's what they're going on about here. I think basically what it's going to do is it's going to change the dynamic of the actual accelerator pedal so that as you're letting off the accelerator, the regen is going to kick in a little bit faster. So that's pretty cool. We have the drift optimizer, which we talked about. So basically, yeah, this is just sort of more information about how these features work. And then, of course, you can also activate them from here as well. So just a bit more. And that is pretty much it for the N screen. Now, there are more features related to N if you go into setup. To give you an idea here, if I go into vehicle, and then here's our N active sound, and then under drive mode, you can actually change a couple things in here as well. So you got NE shift, you have the braking mode, either normal or sport. So if we put that into sport, it's going to use more brake pad and less regen. So yeah, I'm not going to go over everything, guys, because this video is already getting way too long. But basically, a lot of functionality and feature manipulation within the N screen. Yeah, so I think we're going to leave it there. That's pretty much everything you want to know about this particular version. Now, if you want to know more about the Ioniq 5 in general, check out my future videos on 2025 Ioniq 5s. I'll do a full 100% feature review on a future regular Ioniq 5. But check out in the description below, I'll include a feature review of the previous generation Ioniq 5, which is the same generation, but prior to the facelift update that they're doing for the 25s. We haven't actually got any 25s in yet. This is the first one. So yeah, but they're changing similar to this one. You know, they're going to have this center console and slightly different look on the front and rear. But other than that, they're going to be the same as the old ones pretty much. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I enjoyed making it. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And till next time, see you later.